TF2 Fort is one of the most famous maps in gaming. It consists of two buildings with battlements facing each other, with a bridge and a pit of water between. Each hides a secret spy base with a briefcase full of intelligence. There are multiple ways to get inside the base to capture the intel if you get past the other team. It was inspired by a Doom map called Fortress.wad. Every TF game has had a version of TF2 Fort. TF2's version is quite different from the others. The sewers and spiral staircase has changed. This elevator is stairs, and a cover was made for the bridge. Early shots of TF2 Fort show a coverless bridge, and spawn exits more like the TFC version. Despite the many edits, there has only ever been one TF2 Fort variant added. TF2 Fort Invasion was added as part of the Invasion update. TF2 Fort, an iconic map for an iconic game. Dust Bowl is a free-stage attack defense map that came with the release of Team Fortress 2. Each stage has 2 points that red must stop blue from capping. Dust Bowl first appeared in Team Fortress Classic. TFC Dust Bowl behaved more like a one-way capture the flag. It has largely kept a similar layout with the addition of a second control point in every stage, and with the appearance of an abandoned coal mine. Each time blue wins a section, the red team's spawn becomes their new spawn, and the next area is unlocked. The Dust Bowl was the name given to parts of the United States during the 30s that experienced severe dust storms due to poor farming habits. It has a version used for the training mode. Stage 1 appears in Meet the Heavy and Meet the Sandwich. Each point captured adds 4 minutes and 30 seconds to the timer, with no time cap like later maps, leading to some very long round times. Granary is a symmetric control point map that was included with TF2 at launch. One team must capture all points to win. Starting from the middle, players fight around these cargo containers and catwalks while being walled in by these giant silos. Past them are yards that lead to enclosed points within a building. Beyond this are open yards that lead to each team's final control point in front of their headquarters. A granary is a storehouse for grain or animal feed, which would explain the hay bales in the distance, grain elevators and giant silos that divide up the map. An arena version of Granary was added in the Heavy update. It chops off most of the outer areas of the map to focus the fighting on the middle area. Blue's side appears to have a giant ship in the distance, while Red has a tribute to the soldier's voice actor Rick May. Speaking of which, Meet the Soldier takes place on this map. During the battle scene, the red team takes a path that is blocked off in the game. Gravel Pit was a launch attack defense map. Blue must first capture point A, the radio tower, and point B, the radar, before they can capture point C, the laser gun. It is up to both teams to decide how to approach. Do blue split up and attack both at once, or focus on one, giving time for red to set up a defense? Does red split up their team at the risk of getting overrun on one point, or heavily defend one? Meet the Demo Man takes place on this map, but it appears blue is defending rather than red. The comic The Insult That Made a Girardi Master Out of Sniper features point C. This comic is the origin of both Girardi and Saxton Hale. There is a Christmas themed version called Coal Pit. There was a health pack underneath the ground near point A and an ammo pack underneath point C. The ammo pack got the name Charlie and developed a small following. Sadly, Charlie was removed at some point.
After I made this short, they added a spooky version.
The control points version of Well was included with TF2 at launch. There are 5 control points that sequentially unlock. One team must capture all of them to win. Well goes back to the days of Quake Fortress, sporting a very different look to today. Team Fortress Classic's version is a bit closer, but TF2's Well is still drastically different. Well takes place in a train yard. There is a reservoir of water on either side of this shed. Past the yard are large buildings with multiple floors to traverse. Behind them are rockets that act as the final points. There are 2 other versions of Well. The Capture the Flag version was the first map added to the game after launch in 2008. It removes the middle building, replacing it with a single shed and train track, making it more true to the original Well. The arena version was added later as part of that year's Heavy update. This version returns the middle section but removes the bases. Hydro was part of TF2's launch back in 2007. It holds the honour of being the only territorial control map in the official lineup. There are 4 areas each team needs to capture before attacking the other team's base: the radar dish, the power plant, the dam, and the warehouse. Once one team has captured all 4, they can attempt to capture the other team's final base. Territorial control was made with the intention of having a unique experience for every round in the game. Useful in the early days when maps were limited. However, the start and stop gameplay and frequent stalemates were not appealing to the player base, who gradually had access to more and more maps. A yen symbol can be found by no-clipping in the power plant, a signature left by its map's creator, Ika Karinen. The radar dish control point is based off the now defunct Arecibo telescope, and the red team uses Hydro as a base and expiration date. Badlands was added to TF2 in February 2008. The first version was a symmetrical control point map. The middle point is located on a bridge over a small valley with rail cars on top. There are shacks on either side that act as a covered passage for players. There is also a dirt path that leads underneath the bridge. Each team's next control point is located on top of a rock spire, followed by a final point in an enclosed base area. The rock spire has become a bit of an in-joke in many TF2 communities. Later versions were made for Arena and King of the Hill, removing each side's base areas to make the map more compact. It is a remake of a TFC map of the same name. This version of Badlands was a CTF map and looks very different to its TF2 counterpart. Badlands are an area of dry terrain made up of rock eroded by wind and water. And underneath Red's final point is a yen symbol, the signature of the map's creator, Ika Karinen. Gold Rush was the first payload map added to the game. It was part of its own major update in 2008, which also introduced the item system to the game alongside 3 new medic weapons. Blue team must push a cart containing a bomb through 3 different stages while Red tries to stop them. Payload is the successor to the Hunted game mode from Team Fortress Classic. Instead of a team helping a civilian player across the map while the other tries to stop them, the attacking team must push a cart that the defending team must stop till the timer runs out. It will roll back if left unattended for too long and speed up to 3 times faster with more players around it. If the map feels like Dust Bowl, that's because it started life as a reimagining of Dust Bowl's layout before it turned into a payload map. Also like Dust Bowl, Red Team's spawn becomes blue at every new stage. Finally, Meet the Sniper takes place on this map, most easily seen during the scene with the train tower. Turbine was one of the first community maps added to the game in the Pyro update. Alongside Fastlane, it was chosen to be included due to its outstanding quality. Teams spawn in an L-shaped base area that leads to their intel, vents, and a boxy room containing 3 turbines. From the intel is a path with a raised area that leads to the middle room, and to a balcony area with a protective viewing platform. These are connected to the ground with a large staircase. The 3 turbines are surrounded by 2 large shipping crates. How did they get these in here? I have no idea.
I found Flobster, he also made a map called Sepia World.
Despite its modern day reputation, Turbine has a history of being used as a competitive map by the comp community early on. As CTF became less popular for comp play, it was dropped. This didn't stop Turbine appearing in TF2's official competitive mode, however.
There is now a Christmas version, uses information wisely.
Fastlane is one of the first community maps added to the game in the first Pyro update in 2008 alongside Turbine. It was chosen due to its outstanding quality. It is a symmetric control points map where players must capture the other team's point in order while protecting their own to win. The center point is in a yard surrounded by buildings, giving multiple paths to and from it. Past these are more yards with each team's second point. Beyond this are the final points, with a rocket above each. Fastlane's creator Atru SK Diamaki also worked on a map called Redstone. Outside of TF2, they contributed the map Northbound to Day of Defeat and worked on mobile games such as Angry Birds. You can walk on the rafters above the center control point. The skybox is out of alignment with the map, resulting in a strange floating appearance. An interesting workaround was made by adding stilts to some parts of the map. working this quirk into the map's design. Steel was added to the game in the heavy update of 2008. It is a control points map with a unique layout. The final point E is always available for capture, but capturing the points A through D beforehand grants even more time and easier access to E. Capturing A opens paths to B and E. Capturing B moves red spawn back and opens a path to C. Capturing C extends bridges to E. And capturing D blocks easy access to E for red and raises guardrails around E. Steel's creator Jamie Fishbus Manson left their signature in this room overlooking point E. They are also the creator of Freight. There is a little ledge in the pit you can chill out on. Players can find Steel's layout to be quite confusing, giving this map a reputation of being maze-like. Personally, I think it's a skill issue. This layout is not too bad after playing a few rounds, but I guess that requires casual players having a sense of direction.
This map got a big update since I made the video. Go play it now.
Badwater Basin is a payload map included in the heavy update of 2008. It was the first single-stage payload map included in the game. Blue players must push the cart through the map while red tries to stop them until the timer runs out. From blue's side, the cart goes underneath the tunnel to reach checkpoint A. Checkpoint B is reached nearby through a choke point. The cart then takes a dip before heading up a hill to checkpoint C. This leads to a right turn into another choke that blue must push through before reaching the final checkpoint. An asset leak in early 2023 shows the symmetrical King of the Hill version of Badwater was worked on, as well as a version for a dropped raid game mode, which would have played like Left 4 Dead's Horde mode with players fighting what would later become man vs machine robots. It was revealed in the introduction to Source filmmaker video that Meet the Medic uses a modified version of Badwater for the battle scene. There is a Halloween version called Bloodwater. Ravine is an arena map included in the game alongside the heavy update in 2008. Arena is a mode where the player deaths are permanent until the end of the round. The goal is to either wipe out the other team or capture the control point once it unlocks. Players spawn in bases that lead to the main play area. On one side of the map is a sewers area of shallow water, with a section just deep enough to extinguish yourself in. On the other side is a shed with an underpass and an overpass that leads to a drop down towards the control point. There's a staircase near each team's spawn that takes you to a path underneath the point. Arena gradually featured less and less as game mode. I imagine in a game where players are used to respawning that waiting to play again was off-putting for most. It's not even in the casual game pool. Many of its maps have been picked up by custom game modes, most notably Versus Hail. It's likely where you first encountered this map and many others. Lumberyard is an arena map that was put in the game with the heavy update in 2008. Players will stay dead once killed in this mode. To win, one team must kill all the other team or capture the point. Players spawn in a shed that lead to a larger middle building. After a minute of gameplay, the point unlocks and the roller doors hiding the point open up. On one end of the map is a log over a giant drop with a small health kit on it. It was the first Alpine themed map added to the game, contrasting with the yellows, oranges and reds of the Badlands and farm theming, with lush green areas and cool coloured distant mountains. There is a Halloween version called Graveyard. It is running player destruction but with some clever use of map entities to recreate Arena. Players turn to ghosts when they die on this map. Staying near teammates allow you to act as a healer. You can also set off an Easter egg by shooting assorted skulls around the map. Egypt is an attack defense map that was included in the Scout update of 2009. Blue team must capture all the points across 3 stages while red defends till the timer runs out. It has a prominent Egyptian theming, with hieroglyphs depicting a heavy with his minigun, a sapper, 2 small sticky bombs, a large sticky bomb, a level 1 sentry gun, the backstab symbol, Demoman's face, a crocodile, an ubersaw, a soldier on his throne, the Team Fortress logo, a hamburger, and what the TF2 wiki says could be a pyro, but I'm not buying it. Egypt's creator Heyo has worked on many maps such as Junction, which was included in the same update, Borneo, and many others. I believe Egypt was only the second map. On stage 1 is a route from red spawn that will crush anyone inside if the first point is captured. Once the final point is captured, a vault opens up that leads to a tomb full of gold. Junction is an attack defense map that was included in the Scout update of 2009. It functions similar to Gravel Pit. Blue must capture point A and B before capturing point C. In fact, it might function a little too similar to Gravel Pit, as the points use the same names as the aforementioned map. Junction's creator Heyo has worked on maps such as Egypt, which was included in the same update, Borneo, and many others. It's a very small map, the smallest by playable area. The very tight corridors tend to make for some not great games. Even at the time it was added, it seems opinions on its inclusion were mixed. The blue spawn is red themed? I guess it's supposed to look like blue is invading. There's a computer terminal that lacks any player clipping in blue spawn. You can hide in it if you're small enough. Good for rand and shenanigans. Watchtower is an arena map placed in the game with the Scout update on February the 24th, 2009. Players fight to the death inside a pit with a large open area around a central watchtower that the map gets its name from. The creator Joshua C. also made an Egyptian themed map called Tomb. You can reach almost everywhere on this map, even the roof of the tower. The map started out being called Colosseum before the watchtower was added. As far as I'm aware, it is the only TF2 map with breakable glass, located on the watchtower itself. Hoodoo is a payload map included with the Sniper vs Spy update in 2009. Blue team must push the cart through 3 different areas, while red team must stop them. It was made by a team of 4 people. From my understanding, YM made the map, SniperGen made the cart model, Oxy made the ambulance, and 9axis made the posters. The design and layout of this map is similar to Gold Rush, but it is notably more compact as the map was designed to have fast-paced games around tight and confined corners. The name Hoodoo comes from a tall thin rock spire found in arid drainage basins and badlands, some of which appear in the map. At the back of Blue's first spawn is an ambulance that functions as a resupply locker. The cart has been cobbled together and makes a ticking sound when approached. Pipeline was the first payload race map added to TF2 as part of the Sniper vs Spy update in 2009. In this version of payload, red and blue must push their cart to the goal across 3 levels before the other team. Winning an area gives you a head start in the next. The map was teased during the Scout update in the background for the Bonk Atomic Punch. This version has a different theme and was set in the daytime. On the update page introducing the map, Sniper describes how the game mode works in a postcard to his mum. The postcard describes the map as a scenic pipeline. On the map of the Badlands shown during the Engineer update, in the middle of the map at the junction of the pipeline is what appears to be a side profile of the final stage. The arena version of Nucleus was included in the game as part of the Sniper vs Spy update in 2009. It is a circular designed arena map with a colourful swirling doomsday device, which opens up to be captured after a minute, suspended above a pit. Below are some catwalks to provide both an alternative route and a chance to not fall below. The King of the Hill variant was added as part of the classless update later that year. This is likely the version you played as arena is no longer supported. The biggest difference between the 2 versions is that the spawn room is much larger in the King of the Hill version. The particles in the device are assets reused from Portal's ending. Just a quick little update, like the day after I made this short, a Versus Hail version of Nucleus was added to the game, so that's a thing now. Cool. There's a lot of different versions of Sawmill, starting with the arena version with the Sniper vs Spy update in 2009, then the Capture the Flag and King of the Hill editions in the classless update. In Smithsmith's 2020, Snowville was added as a winter-themed player destruction version of the map, and finally Sawmill, a King of the Hill Halloween version, was included with the 2022 Scream Fortress update. Players fight around a center building, acting as the point in the arena and King of the Hill versions. Inside are 2 saw blades that can act as both cover and hazards. They stay clean until touched by a player. underneath the midpoint is a room. You can best see it in the Capture the Flag version. The map layout is asymmetrical, with a shack on the red side throwing off the balance. Sawmill has multiple references to horror media. Snowville has the Compile Pal logo made out of clips near the middle, a program often used by map makers. Yukon is a symmetrical control points map put in the game with a classless update in 2009. Players fight through windy cliff faces to reach a bridge with a log hanging over the top. At each team's final point is a satellite dish they must defend while also trying to make their way to the other teams. This map was made by Ace Gikmo and Mangi Carface, and was included due to its outstanding quality. Ace Gikmo has also worked on a map called CP Glacier, which was brought up during the Viaduct Snow controversy, and Mangi Carface went to work on Frontier. It was used in the competitive community early in the game's life. The name Yukon is a territory in Canada. The picture used for the message of the day and stamp show the point placed below the bridge, but in the game it's on the bridge. Off Blast is an arena map included with the classless update of 2009. It is described as a fast-paced, high-altitude community map on the update page. The same page also talks about the cliff faces around the map, stating, anyone you blast off the side will get some time to think about the various flaws in their standing next to the edge of a cliff strategy as they plummet to an excruciating, non-respawnable death. The map's creator Insta has made maps for other Valve games, such as Day of Defeat Source, and worked on the Ghost Recon series. He is also the 10th class, but not really. Since being put in the game, I cannot find any evidence of it ever receiving an update. No bug fixes or balance changes. Does that mean it's the perfect map? Viaduct was included in TF2 with the classless update of 2009. Alongside versions for Nucleus and Sawmill, it introduced the King of the Hill game mode. Both teams fight over a center point. Valve released videos showing this map's creation using an unreleased extended version of Rocket Jump Waltz. The TF team claimed this was the first TF2 map to feature snow. This was not correct. As punishment for their lies, the TF2 announcer forced map creator Corey Peters to bludgeon his hard drive with a stapler before he was bludgeoned by a crack security team. Map artist Zabif Ing was launched into space. Today's version of the update page credits Ace Gikmo's CP Glacier as one of the first TF2 maps with snow. In 2011 for Scream Fortress, Viaduct was released, a spooky version of Viaduct. On Loot Island, when the Bombonomicon is observed from the back, you can see it costs $6.66 and has a summary and reviews on the back. Harvest and its Halloween counterpart were introduced to TF2 as part of the Haunted Halloween Special, the first Halloween update for TF2 in 2009. It is a farmyard themed map where players fight in and around farmhouses to capture the point in the center shed. This is another map by Heyo. If you've been following these short, he's also worked on Junction and Egypt. Before being introduced in the game, it was going to be an arena map, and was also packed with the big King of the Hill map pack. In the same update, Harvest Event was included. My understanding is Valve took Heyo's map and added their own Halloween features themselves. This spooky nighttime version with pumpkin bombs and the ghost of Zephaniah Man wandering around scaring players. When not roaming around the map, Zephaniah Man rests in a little room underneath the map. These rooms aren't uncommon in Source games, but they're normally not detailed like this. Double Cross is the Capture the Flag map included in the War update of 2009. In this map, both teams must fight their way across a bridge and an underpass train track to capture the other team's intelligence while also defending their own. This was another map by Ika Karinen. According to this interview, it was originally called CP Nightfall and was going to be a 5 CP map. The name Nightfall was dropped as a community-made PLR map called Nightfall existed before the War update. The skybox for Double Cross still bears the name Sky Nightfall 01. The intel room on both sides feature the security panels from Meet the Spy. It will light up to the relevant message when the intel is taken. During a full moon, Double Cross appears on the menu. As part of the 2021 Smithmas update, the community-made version Double Frost was included. Its creator, UEAK Crash, included his name made out of brushes, and a secret room with a reference to his map Trainsaw Laser, a link to his band Bog Wizard, and some cat photos.
There are 4 different versions of Gorge in the game, 5 if you count item tests using Blue Spawn. CP Gorge was included in the War update of 2009. A 5 CP version was included as part of a patch in 2011. A Capture the Flag version for Manpower as part of the 2014 Smithmas update, and an event version was part of Screen Fortress 2015. For the attack defense version of the map, Blue Team must fight their way inside an alpine facility while Red defends. Unlike Dust Bowl or Egypt, it's a single stage attack defense map. 5 Gorge appeared in the 2010 TF2 beta test for upcoming updates before being put in the full game, and apparently existed before the attack defense version, but was put in later for some reason. On Gorge Vent behind a door with a restricted area sign near Blue Spawn, there is a room of Zephaniah Man watching television.
Freight was included in the game with a patch on April 2010. It is a symmetric control points map with similar themes to Well. Train and water passengers appear prominently throughout this map. The official version in the game is called CP Freight Final 1, even though CP Freight and CP Freight Final both exist. On that note, it appears the map has never received an update after being added to the game. Similar to Yukon, the picture on the loading screen shows an earlier version of the middle point. However, it appears the map stamp uses an updated picture. This map was made by Jamie Fishbus Mason and Mitch Olrob. Just like in their previous map Steel, Fishbus put their initials in the map, this time underneath the middle point. Target is a training map released along with the Mac update in 2010. It has the prefix TR for training. Only this map and TR Dust Bowl use it. They were made for the training mode that introduces players to TF2 classes. Tutorials for Soldier, Demoman, Spy and Engineer exist. However, it is possible to play as one of the other 5 classes using the command join class. You won't be able to complete some tutorials as certain classes, however. The TF2's Wiki Weapon Demonstration project uses a modified version of this map called TR Karma. Target appears to be set around the back of Blue's first spawn on Thunder Mountain. Looking behind shows a matching spawn room. This is interesting as Target was introduced almost a month beforehand. Cold Front is a snowy themed symmetric control point map included with the Engineer update in 2010. Players fight over an abandoned cabin before going into the other team's warehouse and finally their headquarters. The first and last capture points were originally made for a TF2 Maps detailing mini contest. It won first and third. In the map's introductory video, you can see a blue pyro wearing Bill's hat. The main spawn rooms for both teams were inspired by the war room from Dr. Strangelove. Out of bounds near the top of the blue rocket is the mapmaker's initials, EW for Eric Wong. Others who worked on this map include Selenit, I think I would say, YM who made Hoodoo, and Void who has worked on many maps in the game. Thunder Mountain is a multi-stage payload map included in the Engineer update of 2010. In this Alpine themed map, Blue Team must push the cart through 3 stages while Red defends. Throughout the map are multiple Easter eggs. At the back of Blue Spawn in Stage 1 is TR Target with some mercs standing around the blackboard. They taunt occasionally. Stage 2 at Red Spawn features Red Merc doing laps in a swimming pool. This is mentioned on the update page. Stage 3 near the second checkpoint has a sniper in his camper van in the distant hills. This map features a train. A symmetric Capture the Flag version was made for Manpower in 2015. This map has the first area mirrored, including the spawn room mercs. However, this does not include the forest skyline on the red side behind the capture point. Upward is a payload map introduced in the Engineer update of 2010. In this map, Blue Team must push the cart through a desert-themed mountaintop while Red tries to stop them. The cart goes through multiple dips and turns to reach the center point, which is a giant pit. If you look in the direction behind Blue's first spawn, you can see a large cargo ship below. This map was teased in a screenshot by Robin Walker before being added to the game. A Halloween version called Hassel Castle was included alongside Screen Fortress 2020. map creator Smiley the Smile included a large machine in the middle pit, which acts as an additional platform. Throughout this version of the map, an alchemical symbol that reads Frankenstein Crypt, once deciphered. This version is also named PL Hassel Castle rather than Upward Event, unlike other Halloween maps. High Tower is a single-stage payload race map released with the Engineer update of 2010. Both teams must push their cart from the bottom of their base to the top of a tower near each other's team spawn. The first to finish wins. The name comes from the two towers players must push their cart up, although the main feature is the middle tower between the team spawns. The map has a reputation of being a pseudo-deathmatch map due to the difficulty of actually pushing the cart all the way to the top, and its large open space allowing for rocket jumping antics. Its Halloween counterpart Hell Tower was introduced as part of the Scream Fortress 2013 update. This map introduced spells and skeletons to TF2. The carts have been replaced by red men and blue Tarks corpses. When the goal is met, all players in the center tower are taken to hell. There's a small ledge at the bottom of the nearby lava flow.
Snowy King of the Hill version was made after I made this video. I was too late.
Mountain Lab and its Halloween counterpart Man Manor were put in the game with the Scream Fortress update in 2010. In both maps, blue team must capture 3 control points while red defends. These maps started out as an art pass contest Valve gave to TF2 Maps. The winners were 3D, NG and YM, whose maps became what we have today. Mountain Lab uses assets from the Swamp Pack. At the back of Blue Spawn is airboats with 3-man airboat tours on them. A reference to, well, you know. There is a sniper target outside of Blue Spawn to the right. Man Manor introduced bosses to Halloween with a horseless headless horseman. He'll run around the map and kill players until defeated, focusing on players marked as IT. At the back of Checkpoint C is one of the Man Brothers. However, only a little bit of the model has been made. The Group Keep is an attack-defense map using the medieval game mode put in the game with the Australian Christmas update in 2010. In this mode, players are restricted to mostly melee weapons and bows and crossbows, changing up gameplay dynamics. This map's design was based off a Quake Team Fortress map by John Cook and Robin Walker called Storm 1. The castle is named after Demerman's family. His full name is Tarvis de Garut. The bagpipes heard when the gates open are from Day of Defeat's British victory music. Despite the update page saying the map is set during the 10th century, it's implied that the mercs have actually been teleported to a tourist attraction, with tire tracks going towards Blue Spawn, computers hidden around the map, and an unused ticket booth model in the game files to back this theory up. In 2023 for Scream Fortress, a version called Sandcastle was introduced. It has the suffix rats, used for maps where players are rat-sized.